Bek Lover.
Oh, it's another day here at the Comeback Team Studios. And you're watching Interesting Times on the Bek Lover Podcast, where I cover all the most important stories from around the world, especially in the U.S., news that you should know about, news that might be important, and news that might change your life. I'm very proud to say that we're one of the first podcasts in the world to break down some very important news when it came to the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump and possibly future President Donald Trump, according to the way the polls are going. But we had two people who were at the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. They came on my show and they basically pieced together the entire timeline, analyzing these agents of the Secret Service or whatever security group they were, viewing the direction of the shooter with massive binoculars minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes before the shooting began. And now mainstream media finally caught up to your boy Bek Lover. So that's what I'm talking about. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because you're going to learn a thing or two about life, and you probably might learn about it sometimes even before the rest of the world does. I want to thank all of my loyal listeners and people that watch this show, which you can watch on YouTube, on Spotify, on Rumble, and you can listen to the audio version of my show anywhere podcasts are available. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, share, tell your friends about me, folks. You are my bloodline to keep this show going. I've been working hard for 4 years, and I need you, just like we all need each other. Let's jump into today's session on Interesting Times because there's so much going on, but I'm going to start with that story that is breaking as we speak. Interesting times indeed, my friends. And here we go. ABC News, behind Bek Lover. Secret Service spotted Trump rally shooter on roof 20 minutes before gunfire erupted. Law enforcement officials investigating the assassination attempt on Donald Trump told lawmakers today in an unclassified briefing that 20 minutes passed between the time the U.S. Secret Service snipers first spotted crooks on the roof and the time shots were fired at the former president, according to several law enforcement officials and lawmakers briefed on the matter. According to the source, briefers said the snipers spotted him on the roof around 5:52. The shooting happened at 6:12, 20 minutes later. The briefing was conducted by the FBI director, his deputy director at the head of the USSS. In addition, briefers told lawmakers Crooks was identified as a person of interest a full 62 minutes before the shooting took place. The timeline was briefed as follows. 5:10, Crooks was first identified as a person of interest. 5:30, Crooks was spotted with a rangefinder. 5:52, Crooks was spotted on the roof by Secret Service. 6:02, that's 10 minutes later, Trump takes the stage. 6:12, Crooks fires first shots. Now, I want to take you back to my episode on Interesting Times where I had both of them, one in the studio and one remote. Steve Lashko gives us a very descriptive timeline based on his cell phone pictures and videos, and the entire time, the angle, they were to the right of President Donald Trump, not on the side that he was shot, his ear, but the other side. But the perfect angle to observe those agents on the roof and the perfect distance. I'm going to show you a recap of the videos and a little bit of the episode that we had the day after the shooting. Check this out and tell me, did we not break this story before the mainstream media and all the reports were done? That is called journalism, my friends. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. Have cell phone footage of the aftermath, which is crazy.
I mean,
now this picture of the Secret Service agents that you guys took, this is before or after the shooting?
before.
So this is he's on binoculars.
Yeah, no, he was
16 minutes before the timestamp.
And they couldn't see this. So the official report saying 20 minutes. My guys, remember, they weren't realizing how much time. First of all, they don't even realize that there's a shooter on the roof perpendicular to these guys, right? And look at how accurate they were. 16 minutes before the shooting, they observed these guys with massive binoculars. Look, massive binoculars, not just the sniper scope, massive binoculars for 16 minutes based on their account. The official record saying 20 minutes now. So they were watching this guy who looks like he couldn't hurt a fly, okay? And they see him and they notice he had a rangefinder and all, and they don't do nothing about it. They couldn't send agents there. Okay, they didn't want to take the shot because they didn't know for certain, or they didn't see the weapon right away, which I find kind of hard to believe. But you couldn't send other agents or law enforcement. Like, seriously, we had this type of a security failure. If I was Donald Trump with all the money that he still may have or may not have, I would hire tons of Blackwater, ex-military, ex-SEALs to guard my life is what I would do. And I would pay them top dollar. But how crazy that we were this accurate with our own assessment. This guy, I mean, they're always screening. There's not that many roofs to screen. Like, it just does not make sense, guys. Would you agree?
No. You know, the thing that puzzles me, and this is just common sense, Trump got the first bullet, right, to his right ear. And
Grazed.
if you look at the picture, though, it didn't go back. It didn't go to the side. It was like pretty dead on. You know, how did that not penetrate further? And then the other 2 or 3 people that got shot, one guy died. They were behind him. They were further down range, and they got hit by a bullet. One of them died. Right, the 50-year-old firefighter,
and some political person's kid got hit, but didn't die.
Yeah, the governor's, I think, nephew or something. He just got one.
Unreal, man. It just doesn't make sense, man. It just doesn't make sense.
Honestly, you won't feel it, you won't know about it till you're there. But at that moment, that moment that we all went down, those 5 seconds, was like, what is going to happen now? Like, what is going to happen now?
I mean, could you?
So the only thing that like saved that moment was him putting the fist.
Yeah,
that's the only. If he didn't put the fist, it would have been, I don't know what.
This nation would have woke up to a very different reality if this assassination attempt actually happened. As far as I wouldn't even rule out civil war erupting, because that's how galvanized both sides are. This is definitely the most volatile election in modern U.S. history, period. Especially the fact that we had an assassination attempt. What's even crazier is, you know, how he survived. In any event, I know I have the story here somewhere with, I believe it was Jack Black, who's now had to cancel. This is breaking news. President Biden positive for COVID. Public appearance next. I'm so sure he caught COVID. I'm pretty sure what he caught was everyone's telling him to step down. A new poll, I'm going to get to that in a little bit. 2/3 of Democrats want him to step down. This guy has no chance against Trump. Even congressmen and senators of the Democratic Party are telling Biden to step down. He has no chance. Not after the hand of God moment that Donald Trump became a legend overnight. Like a legend, literally, because he survived an assassination attempt. But this is breaking news. President Joe Biden got the Rona because he just tested positive for COVID-19. As a result, the news came down Wednesday out of Vegas, where Joe was scheduled to deliver remarks at a conference. Instead of him hitting the podium in front of the media, the organization head honcho Janet Mergruya came out instead and announced JB had contracted COVID. Yeah, more like this is a very easy and simple way to say the president got COVID. He maybe has long COVID. He can't campaign. He's too ill. He's struggling with COVID. And this is how they remove Joe Biden from the election. 100%. That's what's happening right now. Breaking news. You heard it here. I promise you, if I was a betting man, I had to bet on my life. Joe Biden is out of this election officially with this COVID. 100%. What a perfect way to say he's struggling. He's elderly. It kills the elderly. And he can't breathe, so he can't campaign. And to not damage the nation and the Democratic Party's chance, he has to step aside to recover. So is it Kamala? Who's stepping in for Sleepy Joe? I don't know. Breaking news right now on the Bek Lover Podcast. And you tell me that this is not coincidental when Forbes reports Democrats' anti-Biden push resumes shift, and nearly 2/3 of Democrats want him out. He conveniently just captured COVID, right? He just got COVID conveniently as all these polls are coming out and all these senators and congressmen of his party are telling him to step down, along with people like George Clooney, Hollywood. I mean, he has no chance to beat Trump. Not in a fair election. President Joe Biden is facing a new onslaught of doubts about his electability from within his own party after a brief reprieve following Saturday's assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. Representative Adam Schiff, Democrat from California, became the 20th federal Democratic lawmaker and the most prominent one to call for Biden to step aside in the race on Wednesday, lifting the temporary freeze on public calls for Biden's withdrawal in the aftermath of the shooting at Trump's rally in Pennsylvania over the Wednesday. Biden was also hit with a damning new poll Wednesday from the Associated Press Center for Public Affairs Research that found 65% of Democrats, that means the voters, want him to drop out of the race to allow the party to select a different candidate, including nearly half of Black Democrats, 64% of Hispanic Democrats, and 75% of Democrats under the age of 45. Just 18% of U.S. adults and 37% of Democrats believe Biden is more capable of winning the election versus Trump. Conveniently, he caught COVID, folks. This is how they get him out of the election without making it look like he's quit or stepping down. He's just too sick with COVID. Mark my words, that's what's happening. Crazy times we live in. Speaking of crazy, a man was arrested near the Republican National Convention, had an AK-47 pistol, screen mask, and security uniform, okay? I was worried about this earlier. I've spoke to people like Nino Rodriguez, former heavyweight boxing champ, and many other people that are on the far right, that violence would erupt before this election, that maybe this nation would be plunged into a moment where there's no turning back. We are a powder keg so divided, and I have tried to be a voice of reason to both sides because I don't care about Republicans or Democrats. I care about the continuity of America, the American dream, freedom for all, regardless of race, religion, preference in marriage, because I can't force my own personal beliefs. Everyone has a right in this country, right? Regardless of what I believe personally, if you understand what I'm saying, because for the greater good, we have to give everyone rights. And as long as they're not harming us, our children, or whatever, what you do in your bedroom is your business. I don't care. That's between you, the person, and God. As long as you're not violating any ethical or moral or fucking, you're going with children or minors, okay? But this is scary stuff, man. And it shows us that this dangerous election season is far from over. And I'm scared something catastrophic could happen in the U.S. Then you have assholes that I used to really like Jack Black. And technically, it's not his fault in some ways. So I got to take that back. I don't know if he's an asshole. Just really dumb moment that he didn't really have full control over, and we'll review the footage. Jack Black ends tenacious detour after bandmate's Trump shooting comment. Okay? So these two guys were on tour, and it was, his birthday, and Jack Black asked him to make a birthday wish, and this idiot says, I hope next time they don't miss Trump. Like, this country's divided enough. You're high-profile people, you're celebrities. The nation was shocked. Even Democrats who don't like Trump know that it would be horrible if this thing actually happened and what it could do to our nation. And you're basically wishing that it happens, is what you're showing everybody. It shows us that you have no taste, no class, and you're a fucking idiot, is what it shows us. Let's listen to the clip.
Happy birthday, dear Kyle. Happy birthday to you. Make a wish, Kyle.
So he says, make a wish.
Don't miss Trump next time.
Don't miss Trump next time. The Australians love it. This took place in Australia. They're laughing their asses off because the only media they see about what goes on over here is what the media that's painted the former president in such a horrible light. That's all they see in the mainstream media, right? That's all they saw for 4 years of his presidency, almost 4 years of Biden's. So, of course, they're going to laugh. They're not on the ground to feel the shock of everything that's been going on lately. In any event, that stupid joke, which technically is not Jack Black's fault, So I kind of feel bad because all he did was tell the guy make a wish. Costed him, them canceling the rest of that tour. As we move on to this never-ending conflict in Israel with the Palestinians and the Gazans, it's just horrible. And again, I do not condone the excessive force by Israel. I feel like they really went overboard with the amount of civilians that have lost their lives. Like, they've lost any support, in my opinion, for those, unless they're just blind to the sheer amount of violence and destruction. Israel, but again, it does not mean I condone what happened on October 7th. The response to October 7th has far exceeded, in my opinion, what is normal response. You don't just wipe out an entire region because of that, especially because the people don't have control over what Hamas is doing. Israeli strikes in southern and central Gaza kill more than 60 Palestinians, including in the safe zones. Like, what's the point of these safe zones? The same shit happened to the Bosnians. They were told they could go to United Nations safe zone in Srebrenica, and a week later, 8,000 civilians were massacred under the world's watch, under the world's safe zone. And this echoes Srebrenica on a smaller level. Palestinians are told, go here, they go there, they get bombed. They go here, they get bombed. Go to a school, they get bombed. Like, where do you want them to go? They're inside of a tin can that's surrounded on all sides. It's hard for anyone that has any human dignity in them to support this or say this is right. Where are they supposed to go? There's nowhere for them to go. Even safe zones are not safe, and this is from the Associated Press. As Gaza doctors, another article from the Associated Press, as Gaza doctors struggle to save lives, many lose their own lives in Israeli airstrikes. Earlier this month, an Israeli airstrike killed him along with his wife. That's Dr. Hassan Hamdan. Israel's 9-month-old war in Gaza has decimated the territory's medical system. More than 500 healthcare workers have been killed since October, either during assaults on hospitals or in strikes or in their homes. And it's absolutely horrible. Israeli strikes 5 schools in week of massacres. The latest attack on the UN-run school in Nusret camp killed 17, wounds about 80. Again, it's hard to find any sympathy for Israel's response to what happened on October 7th, with stories like this just coming out every single day. Every single day. This war, we've been saying it here for a long time on the show, is far from over. Here's an article by the Tablet Mag. The Lebanon war is coming. I do believe this will spill over into Lebanon full-fledged. It already spilled over, but like full-fledged war. Israel faces a conundrum to which there is no easily discernible, sustainable solution. How best to counter the growing strategic threat posed by Hezbollah, the Iranian-backed Shiite terrorist group that runs Lebanon. On July 4th, Hezbollah fired 200 rockets and more than 20 drones into northern Israel, one of its largest attacks to date, after Israel killed yet another of its highest-ranking commanders in a drone strike in the Lebanese coastal city of Tyre. So, this thing is definitely going to spill. I've been saying this since October 7th. That was my prediction. Here's how it still affects even countries that are not supporting maybe Israel, right? A tanker carrying Russian oil to China attacked by the Houthi rebels that's in Yemen. They've pledged to continue attacking ships that carry any type of supplies or any type of goods that will make their way to Israel. I don't think this was destined for Israel. But in any event, they sunk this ship. And now, what is Russia's response or China's response going to be to the Houthi rebels? Let's see this. This is a footage that the Houthis released themselves of the attack on the cargo ship. And there's probably fatalities. I mean, look at how hard of a hit this was. As you can see, the entire surface of the ship is just decimated. I mean, decimated. This ship was literally decimated. It looks like a massive cannonball hit this thing and just destroyed it. Right in the middle of it. So, this was a tanker. Now, what are the repercussions? I mean, how much oil just got dumped into the sea? Like, that's another problem, right? Which is horrible. And that's probably going to affect their coast, which is crazy when you think about it. One of the largest drug busts in the history of Paraguay. Paraguay finds 4 tons of cocaine in Belgium sugar shipment. Well, that's an easier way to try to disguise it, right? Oh, no, it's sugar. It's sweet. It's sweet. I promise. Going through customs. No, it's sugar. It's sugar. Customs agent goes, yeah, let's see. Now, this ain't twist. This is not sweet. This is some Class A shit, man. This is, this is some cocaina, man. Authorities in Paraguay have announced the largest cocaine seizure in the country's history. Authorities found just over 4 metric tons of cocaine hidden amongst a sugar shipment that was set sail for Belgium. So basically, you know, on the surface level, it looks like, you know, they probably put like 50 packs of real sugar on the top, 50 packs of sugar on the bottom, try to mix them in. This dog right here just took down hundreds of millions of dollars of cocaine, destined for Belgium, by the way. They're not just craving chocolate in Belgium. They want the yayo. Hey, Tony, where's the yayo, man? Paraguay's anti-drug agency, Senad, that's also a very common name for a lot of Bosnians, announced the confiscation of 4,013 kilos of cocaine at the port in the capital, Asuncion, saying it was hidden in sugar sacks that were set for delivery to Belgium. The more than 4 metric tons of cocaine have a street value in Europe of $240 million US dollars. Europe and the US are the largest markets for cocaine originating in Latin America. The route to Europe via Paraguay, Argentina, or Brazil is increasing in significance, according to a recent UN report, as smugglers try to throw investigators off the scent. President Pena says seizure sends a signal to drug gangs, hide your drugs better. 1 killed in Kenyan anti-government protests intensify again. So a couple weeks ago, they almost literally overthrew. They were attacking the Capitol building because they were about to increase taxes on the Kenyan people. And the Kenyans went crazy, burning everything to the ground. Looks like it sparked up again, and a lot of them want the president to resign. Nairobi, July 16th, reported by Reuters, at least 1 person was killed in renewed anti-government protests across Kenya on Tuesday, a Reuters reporter said, as police clashed with demonstrators demanding that President William Ruto step down. Youth-led protests that broke out a month ago against proposed tax hikes have continued even after Ruto withdrew the legislation and fired almost all of his cabinet. At least 50 people have been killed in these protests to date. And that's what happens when you heavily tax your people. And America is really on the brink of being pushed way too far with taxation, state taxes, income tax, sales tax, tax. I own a building. 50% of my building goes to my city and state. The 50% that's profit, the government wants to take another half. That means my building, 1 apartment out of 4 are mine. Are you fucking kidding me? That's worse than the mafia, okay? And then you're taking my money and you're blowing up people on the other side of the world in wars that I don't agree with. You leave our infrastructure shitty, which is why today in New York City, half the trains are not working because it's too hot. We can't even upgrade our transportation for our own citizens. You're taking all this fucking money from us, okay? Tolls, this, that, fucking insane. And you fucking do shit with it. And we have $1 billion just in interest payments on all the money we owe. So you take all this fucking money from us and we're running on a deficit. And the average American is struggling getting by. I don't know what else to tell you people, but we're on the fucking brink of collapse in this country. I promise you. Okay? Some people that I kind of wish that I was with them. There's these, still, believe it or not, in this world that has become so small with globalism and technology, and we can see each other on phones in seconds all over the world, there's actually some parts in the world that are still untouched by the corruption of the world. There are some indigenous people in the Amazon forest that have never had contact with the outside world. Peru, new images show uncontacted tribe dangerously close to logging concessions, right? Because we're over-logging so much. I want to play this video real quick. Okay? 2 Mashko Piro men filmed on riverbank. Video has no sound. So from far away so they don't just... These are... You're watching real images of people who have never been contacted by the outside world. They know nothing about the outside world. Internet, TV, phones, technology, like nothing. They've lived inside, deep inside the Amazon forest. I mean, this is amazing to me, right? The problem is as they're cutting down the Amazon forest, which is a problem in itself because people call it the lungs of the earth, they're now putting this uncontacted tribe into danger and destroying their natural order of things. Clearly, this is a drone picture. They're probably like, what the fuck? Like, they see a drone flying. Like, imagine what's going through their minds. Extraordinary new images released today show dozens of uncontacted people in the Peruvian Amazon just a few miles from a number of logging concessions. Campaigners say there's a graphic illustration of the urgent need to revoke all the logging licenses in the area and recognize that the territory belongs to the Mashco Piro people, which Survival believes in is the largest can't even talk today. They are the largest uncontacted tribe in the world. More than 50 Mashco Piro people have appeared near the Yain village of Monte Salvador in southeast Peru in recent days. In a separate incident, another group of 17 appeared near the neighboring village of the Puerto Nuevo. The Yain, who are not uncontacted, speak a language related to Mashco Piro and have previously reported that the Mashco Piro angrily denounced the presence of loggers on their land, and rightfully so. Several logging companies hold timber concessions inside the territory that belongs to the Mashco Piro people. The nearest is just a few miles from where the Mashco Piro were filmed. One company, Canales Tahomomamo, can't even say it right, that operates inside the Mashco Piro territory has built more than 200 kilometers of roads for its logging trucks to extract timber. Okay, besides deforestation, this is just another reason why we got to take it easy and find more sustainable ways for wood and timber, like planting trees where we took them out already, like taking it easy with palm olive, like that type of stuff. Speaking of Peru, at least 25 die in the Peruvian Andes after bus plummets off cliff, Reuters reports. Here's footage of that wreckage. A bus crash in Peru leaves at least 23 dead after plummeting more than 650 feet. Unfortunately, this is a scene all too common, especially before Albania updated its infrastructure. Albania is a very mountainous region, and buses used to go off these very narrow, rocky, unpaved roads that were winding around mountains, and they would just go off all the time. And they were called the Cursed Mountains for that. And unfortunately, it looks like this just happened in Peru, and my heart goes out to them because I've traveled these types of roads before, and I did it in Albania before, like right after communism collapsed, and they had very few paved roads, and they didn't have tunnels and bridges to connect through these dangerous mountain passes. And I swear to God, I was on a road that really only fits one car. There's no guardrail. I'm literally looking over the whole time my uncle was driving this car. I'm looking outside my window to this bottomless pit, okay, right off the cliff of a mountain. That if my uncle makes one wrong move or falls asleep, we're fucking dead, okay? And I got car sick, and if another car was coming in the opposite direction, we'd have to reverse on these fucking very narrow roads. I swore to myself I would never travel again, and I didn't for years. Now Albania had hired an American company to build this massive road called the National Highway. They pierced through mountains. They made these tunnels. This tunnel's called Kalimash. What was like an 18-hour trip, 14-hour trip to go 100 miles, right? I would be traveling 100 miles to get there, or 200 miles tops, and it would take forever. Now it only takes a few hours, and it's much safer, and thank God they built that road under the former president, Salih Berisha of Albania. Crazy. My heart goes out to the Peruvians. I'm going to skip this article, but basically Kennedy apologized after a video of him speaking to Trump. So there was a recording of this independent candidate, right, from the famous Kennedy family, and Trump called for him to have Secret Service protect him. I think with a last name Kennedy, I think he deserves it regardless, especially if he's running for president. And Trump called him to like have a nice chat, and they released it and leaked it, and he felt bad about it, so he offered an apology. Here in New York City, they were able to foil a plot that would have been really bad in Halloween this year. Thank God they did. It's just another reminder of why I don't allow my children to eat candies from strangers' homes. We live in a sick world. I'll let them go trick-or-treating. I'll grab all their candy, even though technically I don't celebrate Halloween at all. But getting back to the point, when I did allow them to, I would throw all the candy out and fill it with all fresh candy that I bought. And I would buy all kinds of shit just so they felt like they got the same match. $30 to $40 worth of candy to save your child's life, just in case some sick bastard puts a drug or fentanyl or something in the candy. People, we've all heard these stories, right? Well, this one almost became reality. PIX 11, New York News, alleged maniac murder cult had plotted to poison minorities in New York City. An alleged leader of an Eastern European neo-Nazi group is accused of plotting to poison racial minorities and Jewish children in New York City with laced candy, according to feds. Georgian national Mikhail Chvelishvili, I can't even say their names, they're that difficult to say, allegedly part of a maniac murder cult, was charged with soliciting hate crimes and acts of mass violence per the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York. He was arrested in Moldova by Interpol on July 6th. Chvelishvili, 20 years old, allegedly started planning a mass casualty attack in the city of New Year's Eve with an associate dressing up as Santa Claus and handing out poison-laced candy to racial minorities, according to prosecutors. The scheme also involved giving poison-laced candy to children at Jewish schools in Brooklyn. He allegedly claimed he had committed hate crimes while living with his grandmother in Brooklyn in 2022. According to prosecutors, Chvelishvili is also accused of encouraging others to commit hate crimes on behalf of the maniac murder cult. Okay, and this just shows you that this type of hatred can be from any group. They always try to make it seem like Arabs and Middle Easterners and Muslims want to kill the Jews, but clearly there's plenty of other people that want to be anti-Semitic and do stuff like this. So thank God they foiled this plot. My children will not be eating any candy from any strangers, and I will make sure that they never watch my show because I curse, but they're going to watch this segment, and I'm going to show it to them. No candy for you this Halloween, kids, unless daddy and mommy buy it for you. This fucking piece of shit is in big trouble. Senator Bob Menendez. Democrats consider expelling Menendez from the Senate after conviction in a bribery trial. This hits close to home. I grew up in the area. I know some of the people involved in this. I will not mention their names. In any event, it's just shows us that corruption can pay a lot of money, but sooner or later, you piss someone off, they hear about it, they know about it, it will not end well. I hope that any corrupt government official or public servant be exposed, be thrown in jail, and I think that's exactly where Bob Menendez is going to go. While Menendez, a New Jersey Democrat, has 6 months remaining in his term, so imagine he's convicted of bribery and corruption. He should be thrown in jail immediately, okay? They don't want him in any office any longer. No, we don't want him in office. We want him in a fucking jail cell. Within minutes of the guilty verdict on Tuesday, Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer called for his resignation, and New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, who would name Menendez's replacement, said that the Senate should expel Menendez if he refused to step down. Do you think? Fucking gold bars, money, all this shit. Working with foreign governments, okay? And I promise you guys, he's not the only one. I promise you they all have similar situations going on. Some of them are just a lot smarter than Bobby. He must stand up now and leave the Senate. He must do that. And if he refuses to do that, many of us, but I will lead the effort to make sure he's removed from the Senate. But how does he not go to jail for corruption, conspiracy, collusion? Like, are you fucking kidding me? After the jury found Menendez 70 guilty of accepting bribes of gold and cash from 3 New Jersey businessmen and acting as a foreign agent for the Egyptian government, the senator did not comment on his political plans in brief remarks as he left the courthouse. I have never violated my public oath. I have never been anything but a patriot of my country and for my country. As long as I'm getting cash and envelopes and fucking gold bars, I'm a patriot. Now that Schumer has urged Menendez to resign, there will be a concerted effort to put as much pressure as possible on Menendez to voluntarily step aside. So, looks like his little empire collapsed. Speaking of people collaborating with foreign governments, I mean, there's no limit to this, guys and girls. Ex-CIA analyst Sue Mi Terry charged with spying for South Korea in exchange for luxury handbags. So she risked her life in being a traitor just for a couple handbags. But it shows how people who are born abroad or first generation here may have more loyalty to the origin of their nation where they came from than to the United States of America, even though they take an oath, even though they work for the government, even they work for our spy agency. Their allegiance is still to their birth land and their parents' birth land and not the United States of America. And this has been some of the dangers that have seeped into American society that have costed us military power, technological power, corporate secrets. These foreign governments send and flip people at the highest level and corporations, government agencies to steal away the hard work of the American people who want America to be first and succeed. And they take our secrets, our military secrets, our corporate secrets, and they bring them back to their homelands. And this is just another case of this. We had a Google hack, a Google breach for China. Like, the list goes on and on and on. It's just happening way too much. Former CIA analyst has been charged with serving as a secret agent for South Korea's intelligence service in exchange for luxury handbags and sushi dinners. So that means she really loves South Korea, and she just did it for shits and giggles, because you'd have to be stupid to not be doing this for large sums of money that could actually change your life. This is reported by Sky News. Sumi Terry, who also previously worked on the White House National Security Council, failed to register as a foreign agent with the U.S. Justice Department. South Korean intelligence officers allegedly gave her Bottega Veneta and Louis Vuitton handbags and Dolce & Gabbana coat and dinners at Michelin star restaurants. Prosecutors say they almost provided more than $37,000 in covert funding for public policy program on her Korean affairs that she ran. Okay? Foreign governments never cease to work and insert their people to extract voting, billions of dollars that go to their country from America, while me and you struggle, my friends. That's both sides of the aisle. They're all in on it. They're in one big club, like George Carlin said, God rest his soul. But you and I, we ain't in it, my friends. They just take from us to fuel this type of shit. And I'm sick of it. Another person I'm sick of seeing his face and hearing his name. Lawsuit filed against Governor Gavin Newsom over California gender identity notification law. The filing was announced on X, formerly known as Twitter. The lawsuit names Newsom, California Attorney General Roberta Bonta, and State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tony Thurmond. It was filed on behalf of the Chino Valley Unified School District, which implemented the controversial policy last year. California's bill regarding politician safety gets attention following Trump rally shooting. Pre-K 12 minor students, most of whom are too young to drive, vote, or provide medical consent for themselves, are also too young to make life-altering decisions about their expressed gender identity without their parents' knowledge. The key here is they want to make safe zones where minors who are 10 years old, who are confused about everything in life, let alone their sexuality, can decide to alter their sex without their parents' consent, basically, is where this is all going. And if you think that's normal, okay, when I had a lawsuit, I injured this finger and I sued, my parents sued because I was too young. I was in second grade, sued the school for the injury because they left me unattended and I fell down these stairs and my finger's deformed to this day, guys, by the way, for the record. I have a deformed pinky. It's not horribly deformed, but it has extra bone and it's a lot thicker than this one. The court system in New Jersey is where this occurred, gave me until I turned, I think, 18 or 1 year after I turned 18 to try to pursue and sue again because maybe I wasn't compensated enough. And because I was a minor, I might not have settled for that amount because of the injury that I occurred when I was in second grade. But because my parents had to consent for me, right? So think about that. They want to give these kids the right to alter things in their body and this and that without their parents knowing. Okay, gross violation of parents' rights over their children. And when you allow the state to go this far into your personal life, over having control over your children making life-changing decisions, okay? We get mad when our children want to eat too much candy and cakes and don't eat healthy, and we want to know and try to be good parents. You don't think we have the right to know that they're questioning their identity or what they're feeling or what they're going to do with their own bodies that could permanently change their lives forever? This is disgusting. This is wrong. And this should show you where this could go down the road. New York City's having, not New York State had some tornadoes in Rome, New York. And as you can see here, cars overturned, buildings destroyed. Okay, it just shows you that these things can happen anywhere right now in America with this crazy stuff. So look at this, Rome, New York, hit by a tornado. This is unbelievable. We're not in Oklahoma. We're not in North Texas, Dallas, for this type of stuff to be happening. Kansas, unreal. This is something that's very important. Every single parent that's out there, I want you to pay attention as the beach season is here across the U.S. Please do not allow your children to dig deep holes where they bury themselves in them. A lot of these sand holes that the children are digging are collapsing onto them and costing them their lives or bringing them very close to the point where they could lose their lives. I'm going to report this story that happened today on Mission Beach in San Diego. Last week during July 4th, a couple weeks ago, I took my kids to the beach in Cape May, New Jersey. They were digging a hole. It wasn't even that deep. And right away, the lifeguards came and said, kids, you can't go past your knees, and that's it. So from what I'm understanding from the lifeguards in New Jersey, nothing deeper than the knees in those holes because they can collapse basically like quicksand and a sinkhole all in one, and people can lose their lives. Do not allow your children to dig deep holes into the sand of the beaches you are visiting anywhere in the world for your children's safety, even for your own. This child was 16 years old, and they almost couldn't save them. She was buried up to her waist in a 6-foot sand hole on Mission Beach.
Yeah, good morning. It was a rescue. Indeed. And it's not uncommon to see children come to the beach with their shovels and digging holes in the sand. That's what so many of them do, right? But in this case, it was a teenager. She was with her friends and she was digging a hole straight below when that hole collapsed. Take a look at the video here that was captured when this happened yesterday afternoon. Skyfox over the scene as lifeguards and bystanders began digging to help remove the 16-year-old girl who was pinned in a 6 to 8 foot sand hole.
How big she is.
Lifeguards were calling this a trench rescue, and with the tide moving in, well, they knew they needed to quickly get to work.
Every day.
So please do not allow your children to dig deep holes in the beach. It's very, very dangerous. Pass this message, share this message. It is extremely dangerous to allow your children to dig holes deep into the sand that they can physically get into. Okay? A 16-year-old barely made it out alive. Now imagine you have smaller children. Sometimes I got to be honest with you, us parents would dig the holes and tell them to get in. So pass this message, spread it far and wide. Do not dig big holes and do not put your children into them unless you want it to be a permanent grave for your children. Interesting story. Armed robbers steal from armored Brinks truck in Chester. Officials say this is in Pennsylvania. It's been a very interesting week in Pennsylvania with a lot of armed robberies and assassination attempts. Let's check out this news. Let's see what happened here. So, going to get sound here.
Very quick. The suspects armed with long guns robbed the armored truck and got away with cash just steps away from the police station. And Skyforce 10 was over the scene in the city of Chester this afternoon. Investigators say this armored Brinks truck was robbed at gunpoint inside the parking lot of the AutoZone at 9th and Avenue of the States. Now, the robbery happening right across the street from the Chester Police Department. And police are looking for these two suspects who are seen in surveillance pictures, one wearing a blue public safety jacket, the other wearing a black jacket with reflective lines. Both appear to be covered with masks, and police say armed with long guns at the time of the robbery. Investigators say they assaulted the Brinks driver, took his weapon, and got away with an undetermined amount of cash. Now, police are also looking for this Nissan Pathfinder with Pennsylvania paper tags that was involved in a robbery. Investigators note the rack on top of the roof and all black trim around that car. Now, police say that Nissan Pathfinder they are looking for frequents Darby and Chester, and they are advising people to use caution if they encounter that car or the suspects involved. We reached out to Brinks about what happened, but they had no comment on the matter.
Yeah, because they look really stupid because their job is to protect these assets and they couldn't. What's even more crazy to me is that this happened across the street from a police station. Like, wow. These guys were pros, period. To have that type of courage to rob a armored truck across the street from a police station and get away with it. These guys knew what they were doing. These guys are no joke. I guarantee you those tags are fake. Here on Twitter, I saw an interesting video posted by Colin Rugg. That's his handle. But let's take a look at this Fox News clip.
Shooter Thomas Crook's parents were looking for him in the hours leading up to the shooting. We're now told they eventually called law enforcement to report that Crooks was missing, and they were worried. And they also were told, those parents are now being cooperative now with authorities, but they gave them the heads up that something's going on with our son. We are worried. We don't know the texture or the details of their concerns. So in other words, well, were they worried that he had a gun? Were they worried? What were they worried about? Were they worried that he was going to try to attempt to kill a sitting president and then go ahead and turn into an assassin and kill another person and injure two others? It was an attempted assassination on Trump, but he managed to murder anyway.
If I'm not mistaken, I just heard her say sitting president. He's not sitting. He can be again come November, but I just don't buy this story, guys. Just look at this kid, man, and all these security fails. A little fucking nerd like this. There's a lot more to this story. Go and watch my episode when I broke with the two attendees that were there. In New York City, okay, there was a huge protest today. Curtis Silua, founder of the Guardian Angels, whoever thought we would need them again. Local residents in Bensonhurst are protesting a homeless shelter that was being opened at 5 a.m. with no consent from the community or their council member, Susan Zhuang. Zhuang stood up for her community and was arrested this morning protesting the shelter. We stand with Susan Zhuang and the entire Bensonhurst community. So this was the scene where she was arrested. They don't want this in the community. Here, they're fighting the police, and they're very unhappy about this shelter opening up, which is probably going to house migrants also. Let's be real. And maybe they should ship them to California. Gavin Newsom loves homeless people. Like, Gavin Newsom loves the homeless. Like, he just creates the perfect conditions for people to fail in business, overtax them, $7 for a gallon of gas, $8, sometimes $9 in California. Makes life miserable there, taxes the shit out of everybody, doesn't do anything to get rid of crime, and lets the homeless run around doing whatever they want. Go to Skid Row if you don't believe me, in downtown LA. They should send them to Gavin Newsom because he loves them. Interesting story here. Cyanide poisoning likely killed 6 found dead in luxury hotel, including two U.S. citizens, Thai police. 6 people, including 2 U.S. citizens, were found dead inside a luxury hotel room in central Bangkok, likely drank from tea and coffee cups laced with cyanide following a dispute linked to bad investments. The grisly discovery was made on Tuesday when staff at the 5-star Grand Hyatt Irwan in the Thai capital entered the 5th-floor suite after the guests missed checkout by more than 24 hours. When police arrived at the scene, they found the bodies of 3 men and 3 women, a table full of untouched food wrapped in plastic, and used cups with traces of white powder. The door was locked from the inside. Through a back door was left unlocked. Cyanide was found in the liquid inside the teapot in all 6 coffee cups. That's crazy. That's clearly a hit, clearly when business goes wrong. Speaking of Newsom and Elon Musk. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, and Elon Musk have been going head-to-head. I even had some fun on X. Make sure you follow me on X, at Bek Lover NYC. I host live spaces. I make fun commentary. And I'm trying to build my following up there, and I would appreciate some interaction from you guys. But Elon Musk told California, we're out. We're moving Tesla the fuck out. Newsom said, you bent the knee. They went back and forth, and Elon Musk, in my opinion, has won that battle on X. Not because he owns it. He's just a lot smarter, more eloquent, and better spoken and educated than Gavin Newsom could ever be. I can't stand Gavin Newsom. I can't stand him because I'll never forget his face as he lied to the world about having dinner outdoors, when he was indoors unmasked, when he was making all of his citizens in California mask and close their businesses. And this is the clear hypocrisy of these people that you guys champion and suck off because you love them so much when they shit on you, shit on your lives, overtax you, don't protect you with the money that you pay them to do. And you guys sit there because you hate someone from the other. Like, wake up already. Like, wake up. Like, wake the fuck up, California. Like, wake up. The most beautiful state in our country is a shit show, except for Orange County. Spotless. Now, is it a coincidence it's run by conservatives and they're very far right there? I don't know, but it's fucking spotless there and you do feel safe. Go to Orange County, visit LA, and then go to Orange County and look at the difference in governance. Real simple. My heartfelt condolences go out to Shannon Doherty, the actress who played Brenda in 90210, and she was in that show Charmed, but I loved 90210 as a teenager. I'm not going to lie, I had a crush on Jenny Garth, I believe was her name. She played Kelly, I think. She was the blonde. And I used to watch because of her, and it wasn't fair that freaking, whatever. I loved watching that show. And one of my good friends used to be in a very serious relationship with Shannon Doherty. My heartfelt condolences go out to Rob Weiss, her family, anyone that loved and knew her. I wish I would have had the honor of meeting her. I got to watch a podcast between her and Rob talking about their old days, and I thoroughly enjoyed it because I was a big fan of hers and that show. And it's so cool and sad at the same time that someone that I really love and respect, which is my boy Rob Weiss, legendary writer of some of the greatest shows on television, like Entourage, like Ballers, like How to Make It in America, was in a very serious relationship with her for a long time. And it was just so beautiful to see them come full circle and talk about that openly. And I couldn't believe that, that was only a couple months ago and she's not here anymore. And she was a fighter. She had a really long battle with health, and she seems to have been such an amazing person, and I wish I would have had the chance to meet her. May she rest in peace. I'll never forget her, and none of us that loved those shows will ever forget Shannon Doherty. Interesting article in Science. Climate change is slowing Earth's rotation. Okay. This is reported by SciTech Daily. Melting polar ice due to climate change is redistributing Earth mass, right? That's going to affect the way the Earth rotates. Now, what's interesting is Islam, in their prophecies of the end of the world, state that the world will be in the end of time when the sun rises from the west and sets in the east, and that there will be days towards the end of time where one day will be like that of a year, one day will be like that of a week, and the rest of the days will be like normal days right before all hell breaks loose on earth, the end of times. The Antichrist, also known as the Dajjal in the Arabic language, similar stuff to Christianity, but very interesting because what happens is this can reverse the polar caps also, which the Earth's axis of rotation is shifting. Like, this can be a very accurate sign of the end of the world, especially in the Muslim religion. Shifts in mass on the Earth's surface and its interior caused by the melting ice not only change the Earth's rotational speed and the length of the day. The prophecy in Islam says that there will be one day like a year, one day like a month, one day like a week, and the rest of the days like normal days before the end of time. If the Earth's axis shifts and it changes the length of day, think about it spinning and then it goes back the other way. As it starts gaining speed the other way, that's where you'll have the sun from the west, not the east, setting, setting in the east, rising from the west, and the days will be longer for that time period while the Earth starts to gain speed in an opposite direction. You can't rule out this prophecy, folks. If anything, it looks like it might really come true. Interesting times indeed, my friends. And regardless of what religion you come from, I think we can all agree it's time to be a little more spiritual and pray to the Creator, because things are looking really scary out there, my friends. My last article here is about someone else that was found dead at a luxury hotel. Fandango founder J. Michael Klein ID'd as the jumper who leaped to his death from a luxury New York City hotel. J. Michael Clean, a 64-year-old serial entrepreneur and father of 6 with a home in Greenwich, Connecticut, very affluent town, plunged on the 20th floor of the Kimberly Hotel and landed in a third-floor courtyard Tuesday morning, according to law enforcement sources. Clean, who was also a managing partner at the startup funding firm Accreditive, left an apparent suicide note before jumping from the building on East 50th Street near Lexington Avenue. The contents of the note were not immediately known. Clean owned multi-million-dollar homes in the Hamptons and Palm Beach, including a sprawling lakefront abode he bought with his wife for $20.75 million in December 2020. Okay, his houses were like $20 million. Like, it just shows you money does not make you happy, does not fix all your problems. My heart goes out to his family. If you are having these types of thoughts of ending your own life, please call the National Helpline for prevention of suicide and other untimely methods of not being here anymore. In any event, there was so much that happened these last few days. Thank you for your support. Make sure you stay tuned. This is your boy Bek Lover, and you're watching Interesting Times on the Bek Lover Podcast. Till the next time, stay alive, my friends.